안녕들vis! This is a complete guide to all the districts in Seoul.
Seoul is massive. Home to nearly 10 million people, the city is divided into 25 districts called gu. And we're going to all of them and going to my favorite place to eat in each district. The city's main geographical division is the Han River, which runs through the center of Seoul from east to west. Districts located north of the river is called Gangbuk, and those south of the river is called Gangnam.
First district is Jongno-gu.
Historically, Jongno is the original part of Seoul. It was the center of Joseon Dynasty, which was established here in 1394. Think of it as the historical part of town.
And a place you have to visit while you're in Jongno is Gyeongbok-gu, aka the King's Palace.
Gyeongbok-gu is the largest and most iconic of Seoul's 5 grand palaces. You'll notice many visitors wearing traditional Korean clothing or hanbok because you get free entrance if you're dressed up.
Behind the castle, you see the mountains, and it is beautiful. 아리랑 아리랑 아라리 오.
Now that we've seen where the kings of Joseon lived, it's time to eat like one. We're heading over to Keunkiwajip, serving Michelin-rated 간장게장, aka soy marinated crab, a delicacy fit for a king.
And a common dish that was eaten in the king's table is soy marinated crabs, 간장게장.
If you're wondering what it tastes like, it's sweet, salty, and slightly ocean-like with a rich, buttery texture that melts in your mouth. My favorite part is using the shell as a bowl to mix white rice and eating a big spoon of it, and before you know it, your bowl will be empty, which is why us Koreans call 간장게장 a rice thief. If you're curious where the officials and nobles that worked at the palace lived,
we are now at Bukchon Hanok village.
This is where the high-ranking officials and nobility who worked at the palace live. You can wander through its famous winding alleys, but just be mindful that people still live in these homes. From the quiet alleys of Bukchon Hanok village, we'll walk downhill to Gwanghwamun Square. This is the nation's public plaza, home to the iconic statues of King Sejong and Admiral Lee Sun-shin. It's more than just a landmark, it's the country's main stage, hosting everything from cultural festivals to serving as the primary site for public protests and exercising free speech. Right at the end of the square, in the heart of Jongno, you'll find a little stream with people walking.
And this is Cheonggyecheon Stream. It's a little oasis in the heart of the city where you can walk around and put your feet in the water. Oh, there's even little fish.
After walking through history and nature, it's time to eat. We're heading to Gwangjang Market and...
Did you really come to Korea if you didn't go to Gwangjang Market? This is Gwangjang Market. It is one of the oldest and largest markets here in Seoul, and it is filled with food, fresh produce, clothes. Some of my favorite eats here are fried mung bean pancakes, Korean beef tartare called yukhae, and twisted donuts called kkwabaegi.
I know it can feel intimidating for some, but the main thing is to go hungry and be adventurous. Make sure to bring cash and embrace being squeezed onto shared benches next to strangers because this is how we do it in Gwangjang Market. Now, for a complete change of pace from the traditional atmosphere of Gwangjang Market, we're exploring Uljido, located in our next district, Jung-gu. This area was historically Seoul's industrial engine, but in recent years it's undergone a huge transformation. Hipsters are opening stylish restaurants alongside and even sometimes inside these old factories. The blend of gritty industrial background and modern hipster places earned the area the nickname Hipjido, a combination of hip and Uljido among young Koreans. And embodying the heart of this Hipjido phenomenon is Sancheong Charcoal Garden. They specialize in charcoal grilled pork, particularly black pork from Sancheong and Gyeongsangnam-do. Unlike old school joints where you're managing the meat, the staff here manage the grilling for guests so that the pork is perfectly cooked. Their menu includes assorted pork cuts, salt grilled and marinated options, 된장찌개, and more. Drinking and sharing food, especially over barbecue, is a core part of how us Koreans de-stress, and of course,
we are having the national drink of Korea, which is
소맥.
Somek is an acronym of 2 words, soju and mekju together.
We're starting our morning again in Jung-gu near Dongdaemun Design Plaza. Designed by architect Zaha Hadid and opened in 2014, this structure is a venue for exhibitions, Seoul Fashion Week, and cultural events.
This is the original city center. Now it's become a hub for design and fashion, but you can see remnants of old Seoul scattered in this district.
Historically, this ground was part of Seoul City, which protected the capital during Joseon Dynasty. Most notably, Hungin-jimun Gate, known as Dongdaemun East Gate, remains standing and is unique for its semicircle outer wall. Adjacent to the gate is one of my favorite small parks, Dongdaemun Seonggwak Park, where you can walk alongside a restored section of the city wall and get views overlooking the Jung-gu area.
Home to also Namsan Tower. And my ultimate favorite place to eat in this district is Pildong Myeonok for some cold North Korean style noodles.
The naengmyeon served at Pildong Myeonok is made up of a clear mild beef broth and a pure buckwheat noodle with thin slices of braised beef and a half of a hard-boiled egg on top. At a glance, it looks kind of bland, but that's the whole point. There's an addictive quality that comes from the naked flavor that you can't hide behind sauce. Oh, also, don't forget to order North Korean style mandus.
These are North Korean style dumplings. And what's characteristic about North Korean style dumplings versus regular dumplings is that they're filled with more tofu. Wow. Kevin can attest to this, but this is food I miss the most when I'm outside of Korea. You know why? Because North Korean food is all about the ingredient, and you can't get ingredients like this for Korean food outside of Korea. There's no bite like this for me. Playboy Club.
Our next district is Yongsan-gu, home to the War Memorial. Over 3 million people lost their lives during the Korean War that lasted from 1950 to 1953. Most were civilians, and countless families were torn apart by a border that still divides the peninsula today. At the War Memorial of Korea in Yongsan, you're reminded of the cost of war and the sacrifice of those who fought. Our next destination in Yongsangu is Itaewon. While it initially grew by serving American soldiers, over time it attracted people from all over the globe. Now it's a hub for international cuisine and a vibrant nightlife. I have a separate video only about this area highlighting some of my favorite eateries if you want to go check it out.
We're in front of the mosque here in Itaewon. It's one of the only Islamic mosques here in the city, and it just shows how multicultural and diverse Itaewon is. Compared to a year and a half ago when I came here, a lot of the area has been torn down for redevelopment, and it's a little sad because it's where I had a lot of great memories, and especially for a lot of international communities. But it's changing. Yeah, Seoul's always changing. Eunpyeong-gu. Is this Seoul? It's so pretty! We're at Bukhansan National Park, about to go to one of the most prestigious temples here in Seoul called Jingwansa. We're at Jingwansa, and it's one of the oldest Buddhist temples here in Seoul. And this is a place you must visit when you're on this side of Seoul because the atmosphere of the place is so calming. It was established in Goryeo Dynasty in year 1002, meaning this place is over 1,000 years old, holding so much history and a place for refuge. Also for independence warriors during Japanese colonization. It's a place rich in history, and you can see the people praying, and it is one of the best ways to feel the calm Buddhist energy when you come to Seoul. The place is open for people who are praying, but also for tourists, but be mindful and whisper at all times.
Immersed in the calm spiritual energy of Jingwansa Temple, a perfect way to continue this peaceful experience is by visiting the traditional tea house operated right here within the temple grounds. This is sangwacha. It's the OG Korean energy drink before Monster and Celsius. It's a mixture of bunch of herbs and it has a little bit of a medicinal but sweet taste to it, and it's made with burdock, dates, a lot of other things. Oh, ginger. Simmer down for a long time until it gets a dark color. It's not too sweet and you feel so nourished. And on the side, because it is a slight bit bitter, I also ordered a yakgwa. It's a Korean pastry that's soaked in sweet rice malt syrup and it's sticky and chewy. And the combination of these two is insanely good. And this is red bean porridge with rice cakes covered in soybean powder. And this is a food we love to have for dessert, especially when the weather gets a little colder. This is the reason why I look forward to winters in Korea. It's creamy, almost chocolatey, and a little sweet at the end, but not too sweet. And the consistency with the sweet rice grains is incredible. It's so good. It's actually one of the best patchuks I've ever had in my life. I think this was the most memorable moment from all the districts yet so far. I like a lot.
Buddhists are vegan. No meat, fish, poultry, or eggs, but I'm not Buddhist.
I'm Korean. After a nice morning hike, I need some broth.
So we're heading over to Seobu Gamja-guk for a classic pork neck soup.
So this is Gamguk-gu. The more commonly used name for this dish is actually 감자탕, but interestingly enough, they call it guk, which is the more thinned out version. So it's more soupy and brothy. It's pretty cold today, and this broth completely melts my soul. So what this uses is the spine part of the pork neck. And the beauty of this is the meat that's stuck to the bones, fishing it out. And it comes with a spicy mustard sauce. You dip it in the sauce, and you eat it. Wow. This almost has like a wasabi-ish spice to it. The meat is incredibly tender, and look at the kimchi here. It's a saucy, thick, jeollado style, like a southern Korean style kimchi that I grew up eating, and it's so good. Great balance between the slightly clear broth and the saucy kimchi. And the leaves that you see here is called ugoji. It's the outer layers of napa cabbage that's too fibrous to be eaten on its own or for kimchi. So it gets dried and then braised low and slow so it becomes almost like collard greens.
When you're done with the soup, it is time for dessert. And because we're Korean, our dessert is rice. More specifically, fried rice. Fried rice after soup is made by utilizing the leftover broth to hydrate day-old rice with kimchi and seaweed, then pressing it down so it gets nice and crispy on the bottom.
This is the sound that makes Korean people shiver at night.
This is what I call a proper Korean dessert, fried rice. Oh. The best part is the scorched rice at the bottom that you have to scrape off.
Baby, you already know what time it is. It's another clean bowl crib time. We're moving down south to our next district.
We are in Seodaemun-gu. Something people overlook when they come to Seoul is the bakery scene here. I urge you to try a Korean-style bakery. And obviously, being a Korean-style bakery, what do you think we're gonna have? Some garlic bread. Did you know that the Korean word for bread is 빵, coming from the French word pan? That's my fun fact of the day. Hongjaecheon Waterfalls.
Hongjaecheon Waterfall is built along the stream as part of Seoul City's restoration project to bring back nature into urban life. Next to the waterfall, there's Cafe Pokpo, where the proceeds from it goes to fund scholarships for students in need. It's a calm escape within the city and a great place to enjoy a warm cup of brew. A 10-minute drive from Seodaemun Waterfall is the Independence Park. Part of traveling thoughtfully is acknowledging the full history of the places we visit.
We're in front of Seodaemun Prison Memorial Museum.
Originally built during the Japanese colonial era, Seodaemun Prison History Hall was the primary facility for imprisoning, torturing, and executing Korean independent activists who resisted Japanese rule. Many prominent figures in Korea's fight for freedom suffered within these walls, making it a symbol for our nation's suffering and resistance. After liberation, it continued to be used for political prisoners during South Korea's authoritarian regimes. Today, it stands as a poignant memorial and education education site, preserving the grim history and honoring the sacrifices made during Korea's independence and democracy. After a history lesson, it's time to eat some
Bread!
I'm bringing the bread earlier we got from Mandong-제과 to Seoul Silvergrass Festival.
We're on our way to the Silvergrass Festival, held every year. A little history about the place. This used to be one of Seoul's biggest landfills, but it got converted into garden space for people to come and enjoy. It's around like a 25-minute hike, but because we're fat asses, we bought bread and then took the electric car up the hill. So one thing that's different about Korean garlic bread is that it's sticky and sweet. Because if you think about it, garlic is sweet. Sweet and garlicky. If that rocks your boat, try it out. Beautiful view, beautiful food. What more can I ask for in Seoul?
By the time we left Sky Garden, it was nightfall, but we're heading in deeper into the center of Mapo district to a place that doesn't sleep at night.
We are now at Mapo-gu. This is Hongdae, which is the arts and party district in Korea. It initially started out as like an artsy campus college town, which quickly turned into a hodgepodge. If there's one word that I use to describe Hongdae, it is dopamine. There's dopamine everywhere.
I'm a shy boy. Being surrounded by this many young people makes my stomach feel like knots. So we're gonna go eat some. Not students, but tripe.
So a very popular food for a lot of students is gopchang. Gopchang is cow intestine that's grilled, and we're at Gop, which specialize in garlic stuffed intestine. So inside is the stomach juice that ends up being cooked, but it has a really creamy texture. I know it doesn't sound very appetizing, but once you have it, the more you chew, it has almost like a buttery, tallowy taste that just bursts in your mouth. Think of it essentially as just you're eating fat, and fat is delicious. And we're here on a Monday and look around, it is packed. And for good reason. They marinate the intestine like a fruit mixture so it doesn't have any of that gamey smell.
And of course, to cut through the fattiness, you know what pairs well? A shot of soju.
Definitely try it when you come to Korea. Won't be your last Gop. Yeah. Ye old stomping grounds.
We're in my old hood, Seodaemun-gu. The most famous neighborhood in this district is Seongsu-dong, not because I lived here, but it's one of Seoul's trendiest neighborhoods. It's packed with the newest fad and coolest pop-ups that change every month. At the start of it were old warehouses and factories that slowly started converting into coffee shops, then boutiques, and now into the hottest pop-ups. Trends come and go, but an obsession that's still going strong in Korea is salt bread.
You have to give it to them. Like, the packaging is so pretty. Actually, this is a place I never came to when I was a local. But once I moved out, I started coming. So we came to Taeyeon-do, which is one of the most popular bakeries here in Seongsu. And they sell one thing, and it is salt bread. Salt bread is essentially like an overly buttered croissant that gets kind of in between like a croissant and a brioche. And it has the signature name because of the salt that's sprinkled on top. And the salt that they use here is roasted salt. The top part is super crunchy, and then the inside is soft and buttery. And when you bite in, you get kind of like a burst of butter in your mouth that just completely coats it, but then the salt kind of cuts through some of that butteriness. Korea is not done with this obsession with salt bread yet, and I can understand why. It's so good.
At the heart of this neighborhood, with high-rise buildings, is Seoul Forest. This area used to be the site for Seoul Racecourse. No bias, but I think that it's one of the most beautiful parks in Korea. A 10-minute walk, you see the native deer enclave, an untouched wetlands underneath the bridge that leads up to the Han River. The lake in the center of the park is also giving
Monet! So you've probably seen Mesh a bunch of times in my vlogs because it's my favorite coffee place. What they've done here is specialize in doing light roast. They have a roastery machine on the side and they're open from 9 a.m. and it is my favorite place to get coffee for light roast.
A 10-minute drive from Seoul's trendiest neighborhood leads us to Dongdaemun-gu.
Welcome to Dongdaemun-gu. We are at one of my favorite produce markets, Gyeongdong-시장. If you want to experience what a real Korean traditional market is, this is the market to be. It is as authentic as it gets. So Gyeongdong Market started originally as medicinal goods market, and then it quickly grew into selling everything imaginable. And because it's a market, you never want to shop on an empty stomach. So we're gonna go eat some noodles first, and then look around. So we are at Mandong. Everything revolves around Napa cabbage here. As a little appetizer, you get the inner sweet part of the Napa cabbage served fresh to be enjoyed with a little bit of sticky millet rice and some doenjang. We also got a Napa cabbage jeon, which is a fritter that is fried thin. And when you bite into it, you get that little crispy flour batter and that sweet, juicy cabbage that cooks perfectly. We also obviously had to get noodles. And this is a beloved joint here in Gyeongdong Market, especially because the owner of this place was on a very famous TV show called Black and White Chef on Netflix. First sip, you might think that it's a little bit bland, but that's actually kind of the whole point of this gukshi. But there's a certain really nice subtle flavor of like the sweetness of the Napa cabbage and 마늘이요? The server told us to put a little bit of garlic here. Wow, and it amps the flavor. But it's a very subtle, easy on the stomach kind of noodle. And there's something a little bit special about the noodles here. It has non-chewy texture to it because they use soybean powder, so it has a really nice nuttiness. But then the gluten level, I'm geeking out. So I told myself I wouldn't geek out on this video for food and keep it more general, but there's a nuttiness, but a non-chewiness that kind of has like a texture like almost like soba, but it is very special of its own. Wow. I think it's one of those places, either you love it or hate it. In Korean, we call this kind of taste 슴슴한 맛. Not too dopamine driven, but it really tastes of the ingredients, so you feel really healthy after eating it. This is a symphony of cabbage.
Now that our bellies are full, it's time to wander through the market. Gyeongdong Market 101, watch how the pros do it.
Jongno-gu. We're back in nature, baby! So crazy how different all parts of Seoul is, no? I mean, today we started off with Seongsu-dong, which is like Cloud Demon Cafe Street, and then to Dongdaemun with all the old ladies and people haggling, and to this now in Jongno-gu as we go further up north. We're at Mangu Cultural Park, and this is the park where the freedom fighters' grave was transferred to from Itaewon Communal Grave, and it's a really beautiful hike now, and you can see some of Seoul's nature, especially in Achi Mountain.
After a little mountain stroll, we gotta get some protein. We're eating...
I love tofu. Let's go get some freshly made hand tofu. So soft and creamy. You can almost think of it as fresh ricotta. It is the same chemical process where the protein solids, they solidify with acid, and it is so heavenly. You don't even need sauce for it. Obviously with sauce is also good, but you should try it just alone. It will completely redefine your world about tofu. And then this one is the firmer tofu. It's essentially the same process, except it's pressed down so that some of the excess liquid drips off and you only get the firm curd. It's almost crazy to think that this comes from beans, not dairy. If you've only had pre-packaged tofu your entire life, you have no idea what you're missing out on. I think it's one of those things that you have to try when you come to Korea because tofu is such an integral part of our lives. It's in soups, stews, we like to eat it raw as well. Most important is ingredient, and freshness is key. And obviously, a little bit of makgeolli. So makgeolli is an unfiltered rice wine. You make it by fermenting rice with an inoculated yeast and mold culture called nuruk. And this is the drink that a lot of common people would drink back in the day, but it's also great for gut health.
Big one.
From the Achi Mountains, we're going down closer to the river to our next district, Gwangjang-gu.
This is the other side of Gwangjang-gu called Kondae. Kondae is a shortened word for Kondae University, and in front of Kondae University is a bustling drinking town as well as a Chinatown. So Kondae also has a large Chinese student population, so around it naturally started popping up very authentic Chinese restaurants. And there's a street alley completely dedicated only to lamb skewers, so that's exactly what we're gonna get. So this is yangguchi, which is lamb skewers, and the beauty of this is that it self-rotates, and underneath are compressed charcoal. It roasts low and slow, and it's the perfect crunchy bite. Our bevy of choice is beer from Yenjing, which has a lot of Korean, Chinese, heritage people, and they're the ones who introduced lamb skewers in Korea. Insane. Eggplant is also so bomb. The hydrated potato starch batter and then dressed in chili oil, salt, sugar, and MSG, and chilies and garlic. It's a good mix of dry spice as well as the chili oil spice that's aromatic, and it's so freaking good. Good morning from Gangbuk-gu. We are at the Bukhansan National Park. I wore my pants the wrong way today, so my pockets are on my ass. My ass be hungry, just like its owner.
How's it going, Tin?
Don't touch me. I did this hungover. After the hike, you want to nourish your body with something hearty and warm, so we're gonna get wild sesame seed kalguksu. A little appetizer before the main is barley rice. You have some mu sengcheng, which is a lightly dressed radish salad, along with some sprouted soybean, gochujang, and you mix and eat. This looks so creamy, and it smells so nutty, and it's a different kind of nuttiness from peanut butter. It's different. It's more earthy. It's sesame's wild cousin. Wow. I think this kalguksu itself makes it worth to come all the way to Gangbuk-gu. The broth is super creamy and nutty, but also at the same time it's light. And I don't know if you can tell, but this place is packed with one of the hardest clienteles to satisfy, which is middle-aged women, and that shows something.
Seoul-gu. This is a primarily residential area, and another experience you need to have while you're in Korea is...
Someone is looking excited.
I love being naked in a hot pot with people.
Yeah, look, all of my friends going crazy. I gotta brag on myself, I amaze me. I know I'm got something that I can phase me. I'm too dope like I'm back in the 80s. Okay, go call me.
I was literally in there for 10 seconds and I'm already sweaty.
The whole point of doing jjimjilbang and sauna is to relax and have fun. And how can you have fun if you're not snacking?
This is a roasted egg, and you might be wondering why it's lopsided. Well, it's because as it evaporates and it cooks, it just takes on the way that it was slanted on, like this. It takes on kind of a chewy, slightly rubbery texture and very eggy. And this is the quintessential bite that you want to get when you're at a jjimjilbang, because you're letting out steam and you always gotta get your protein. And the yolk can be a little bit dense at times, so you want to wash it down with shike. Shike is a fermented rice bran drink that we love to drink, especially during the summer, as kind of like our electrolyte. There's nothing quite like it, especially after a good sweaty session.
We're hopping over from Dowon-gu to Dobong-gu.
Dobong-gu. This is a primarily residential area. As you can see from a lot of the apartments near me, this is a town for a lot of families. And you will also notice that these gus on the peripherals are primarily bed towns because they're new additions to the city. It's definitely a little bit more breathable and it's surrounded by mountains, unlike some of the hyper-central areas. In these residential areas, you'll notice a lot of outdoor facilities like this gym and old people working out. Yeah, health and wellness.
And wherever there's a residential area in Korea, there's always going to be a great local market.
We are at Sangmun Market. It's a very regular residential market, but kind of feels like you went back 20 years back in time. It is a market that is on the smaller side, but the food here is incredible. Let's just take a walk down and take a look.
These markets really show the true beauty of Korea. If Gyeongdong Market in Dongdaemun-gu is a market of all markets, the Sangmun-dong Market is extremely ordinary, but that's really amazing of its own. I was feeling a little snacky, so I stopped by at a bunsikjip.
I want a little bit of broth right now because it's getting chilly and I'm gonna get a street side fish cake.
A bunsikjip is quote-unquote Korean fast food, but that doesn't mean that it's unhealthy. They specialize in casual, quick comfort foods like fish cakes, tteokbokki, and kimbap.
It's residential areas like this that have like the best street food because it's cooked by moms. It has a very different taste from all the commercial chains because they're making food that they would give to their kids. So the little rolls that I'm eating are called 꼬마 gimbap, and the literal translation to that are toddler gimbaps. They're not fully fledged gimbaps because they're smaller and bite-sized, and they're my favorite because the ratio of rice and filling, at least for me, feels perfect. And they're really, really great for also dipping into tteokbokki broth, and the rice cake that they use is called miltteok, and it is a flour-based tteok that is a little bit chewier and also soft, and it's my favorite type of tteok to be used for tteokbokki. And I love that it's also brothy and you can see it simmering in a cauldron right in front of the store, and a lot of people are coming in grabbing a little bite to go, and you know that this is a good place and it is so delicious. This is a 녹차 hottteok, and not like Blank Street matcha latte type of stuff where it's overly green, but this is just incorporated, so when you're eating it, you're like, how bad could it be? I mean, it has 녹차. The little brown speckled spots on the outside is the brown sugar that's seeping out, and you can see the embedded sesame as well. It's crispy on the outside, soft and pillowy on the inside, and the filling is like lava hot, oozing out, but it's nutty and sweet, and you get that toasty nose from the brown sugar. If you're especially coming during the winter time, you need to get a hottteok or else you're completely missing out. A little hint of cinnamon too.
We're now in Seongbuk-gu. The name of this district literally means north of the fortress because this area was just north of the city walls of Old Seoul in the Joseon dynasty. The city wall trail along Naksan Park is open 24 hours, and it is especially beautiful at night when the wall is lit and you can see the panoramic night view of the city.
And I really, really urge you to come and check it out, especially if you're feeling a little jet lagged and can't fall asleep. We are in Yeongdeungpo-gu, and behind me is our National Assembly. Reporting live, this is Tina Choi from CNN News. What are we eating?
Yeongdeungpo-gu is one of Seoul's key corporate and financial centers, often called the Wall Street of Korea. But if you head a little further in, it's also home to the largest Chinese immigrant community in the city. And naturally, that means there's a lot of incredible food waiting to be discovered.
We're now here at Elim Central Market.
This is the official Chinatown of Korea, filled with produce and goods catering to the tastes of Chinese Korean immigrant community. Being the largest foreign group in the country with almost 1 million Chinese nationals residing here, their presence has naturally influenced how we eat in Korea. Most notably, Korean Chinese restaurants have emerged, adapting to the local taste with dishes like jjajangmyeon, 탕수육, and jampong.
And something you need to try while you're in Daerim-dong is an old Korean Chinese restaurant. This is 동해반점, open since 1972. If you ask most Koreans what they want to eat at Korean Chinese restaurants, it's one of the two. either jjajang or jampong, and it's like asking which of the parent you like better. Is it your mom or your dad? And this is jjajangmyeon. It's the ultimate Korean fast food and something you need to try while you're here. This is Korean sweet and sour pork called tangsuyu, and it's bomb diggity. It's so crispy that even with the sauce smothered on top, it retains the crispiness.
I think one of my favorite parts about Seoul is how well integrated the garden spaces are with the urban areas, and it coexists together. So Borome Park used to be an old airstrip, which is why you can see a lot of the old planes in the center of the park, and around it, the government started planting trees so it can be a place for the community to come together and enjoy the facilities. And you see people running, having a picnic, reading, playing badminton, and overall, it's a very livable and breathable city.
In the center of Borome Park, you'll find Seoul's mascot, Haechi, and its own little house, Haechi House. Inside, there's a little gift shop, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because every month, different events are held across the city, and they sell a guidebook there called Seoul Playbook 365. It outlines all the events happening each month, so if you're looking for a complete guide to what's going on in Seoul, make sure to go check it out. A little drive from Borome Park in Dongjaku is Norangjin Fish Market. Norangjin Fish Market is Seoul's largest and most famous seafood market, operating since 1927. It's a hub where fishermen, wholesalers, and locals all gather to trade everything seafood.
So after we get our fish, we're gonna go upstairs and sit down at a proper restaurant, and they're also gonna come with a soup and a little bit of banchan because, come on, we're Korean.
It is as fresh as it gets, and you can get seafood at really reasonable prices. Follow me up the stairs to the restaurant section.
So this whole street are all restaurants where you can come pick up your fish and they cook it for you.
Part of the fun here is you can choose the fish you want by buying it downstairs and bring it upstairs to the restaurant's BYOF style. Bring your own fish. You pay a small table fee which gets your seat and banchan like kimchi, lettuce, and sauces. Then you pay a separate small cooking charge for whatever you want to get done. And you thought we were going to throw away the bones? No, you can ask for the bones from your fish to be cooked in a stew so you can eat all parts of the fish. Your fish, your rules.
Yongsan-gu. And if you've lived in Seoul as a foreigner, you definitely know one place here, and that is the Seoul Immigration Office.
And you'll know that doing paperwork here is extremely stressful, and the best way we like to distress is with spicy food so hot it's bubbling over.
It looks very spicy. So we are at Mr. Sundabu. Sundabu jjigae is a very traditional Korean dish cooked directly in this clay pot, so it comes out raging hot. The silken tofu is the mix of spice, and it being so incredibly hot really just opens up your pores. It's a really good mix.
One of the most famous neighborhoods in this district is Mokdong for its Hagwon Building Alley. Hagwon is a private after-school academy where students go for extra schooling after school. Most kids go to school from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. that get shuffled into Hagwons from 4 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. then to come home and do double homework for both school and these private academies. It's a massive part of Korean life driven by a highly competitive society, all to get into
Gwangjang, home to Seoul National University, aka Korea's Harvard.
It's the most prestigious and competitive school to get into. In Korea, top universities are often referred to as Sky Schools, an acronym for Seoul National University, Korea University, and Yonsei University. And these busy students, they need something quick, filling, and nourishing. I have one of my favorite kimbap places called Ore Kimbaps, filled with fluffy egg and their signature salad kimbap, but they were closed by the time we arrived since they're only open till 2 p.m. So if you're in the area, make sure to try it out and tell me what you think. After people graduate from SNU, many get scattered into different industries, and some may find themselves in Jongno-gu, home to G Valley. Wait, that sounds a little bit weird.
Jongno-gu. This is the techno valley of Korea.
Once filled with textile factories, the area has transformed into a hub for startups and IT companies. Working corporate in Korea can be intense. Long hours, strict hierarchies. Though it's changing a lot, it can be tough, especially if you don't have the best boss. So after long hours in the office, it's common for coworkers to unwind together over hwaeshik, something greasy and fatty, 족발.
braised pig trotters. It's buttery and soft and just completely melts in your mouth. And something you need to try, especially as a late night snack. And the key is in the skin. As it cooks through with the sweet soy sauce, it becomes really nice and chewy, and it's good for your skin.
In Korea, nights out follow the ritual of 1차 and 2차. It's like bar hopping, but more on the emphasis on the food. It's sacrilegious to drink without food, and it's such an ingrained part of how we eat and drink that we have a special name for it, anju. These are dishes that are saltier, spicier, crunchier, and greasier because it's meant to wake up your dulled senses to keep the night going with your friends and loved ones. And the best place to get anju is at 포장마차, aka late night tented bars, so we ended the night at 포장마차 Tan with some grilled fish, kimchi omelette, and kimchijeon.
Gangsu-gu, home to Korea's first airport.
The boom for international travel began in 1970s when rising incomes and new government policies slowly started opening the door for ordinary Koreans to travel abroad. It marked the start of Korea's stronger connection to the rest of the world, and with it, a wave of Western influence.
It really feels like you went back in time. This is what burgers used to look like back when my dad was in school. So we ordered the egg and cheese burger, and it comes with sliced cabbage, crispy egg, and American cheese.
Slightly different from the American classic, but still incredibly delicious and fun to try. It tastes more like an egg and cheese with a sausage in between, but then you get that crisp freshness from the thinly sliced cabbage.
So this is an old style patbingsu where she grinds the ice, and then over is red bean, fruits cocktail from the can, and then a drizzle of heavy cream. I've never been in a place where they sold burgers and bingsu in the same place, but in a weird way, it makes total sense.
We're in Songpa-gu, home to the 6th largest building in the world, Lotte Tower. But amidst all the tall buildings, this area is still a residential family neighborhood, and one thing you can find in these residential neighborhoods is good Korean food.
This is such a residential experience, going to a random Korean place in the middle of a very brand new building. People who live in Korea will know what I'm talking about, but we're going to Tenmaru Bapsang to get a proper traditional Korean meal.
Oh my god, it looks good! This is what I'm talking about. This is what real Korean food looks like. Lots of plates. This is a traditional Korean spread. Let's go over some of the banchan. For those who are unfamiliar, banchan are supporting dishes that complement pap, aka rice. Most importantly, we have our proteins, which is bossam. Bossam is a slow braised pork and is usually served with dried radish kimchi. And next to the bossam is 간장게장, which is soy marinated crabs. A wide range of namurs. Here we have stir-fried anchovies, and a very important dish is this one, which is japchae. It was a common dish that was on the king's table. Here we have some fern, some pancakes, which is called jeon. We have some fish, and obviously we need to have some soup. Here we have 달래 된장찌개, which is a type of baby chive soybean paste stew. Kimchi-jjigae, which is the national dish of Korea, stewed with pork, aged kimchi, and tofu. And here we have some steamed egg, and last but not least, we have some kimchi. And the way we do it, you get your individual pot rice that's freshly made, and you scoop out the rice, and afterwards for this crispy part, which we like to call nurungji, we deglaze it with a little bit of hot water, usually tea, and then close the lid so it releases from the pot. Let's feast! You can get all of this for around $18 USD per person, and especially with the current currency rate. So another common thing that you can do is if there's one thing that you want to try a little bit more of, it's totally fine to ask for more when you're at 한정식 places. Proteins, they won't refill, but for any other vegetable side dishes, you can definitely refill. And after you're done eating your meal, the nurungji is the dessert that we enjoy at the very end. It's almost like Korean oatmeal, but I want to say it's better because it has that toasty notes, and it's soothing, it's half tea, half oatmeal, and easy on the stomach.
Mandong-gu. We are at Gwangjang Bridge, and underneath there's an observatory where you can see the Han River, and it's all covered in glass, so it feels like you're floating.
Got them shaky legs.
Here you can see how big the Han River is. So approximately they say that the width of the river is around 1 kilometer, and it's hard to imagine how big that is, but once you come here, you know that it's massive. Question is, do you think I'll be able to swim from one side to another? Maybe, if I didn't eat so much budae-jjigae. We're in front of Amsa Complex Market and we are about to go get some budae-jjigae. Budae-jjigae, aka as Koreans like to call it, buchi. So this is what's commonly known as army stew in the US, and the history behind it is Korean War. When supplies of US canned meats were scarce, people wanted to make it stretch and also Koreanize it by adding vegetables and gochugaru and make it into a soup. And this is the creation. It's a culmination of both history and love for food. The veggies on the bottom give the broth an amazing cleanliness to it that works so well with the salty processed meats, and the watercress gives it that almost peppery note. The bean sprouts has a really nice crunch. The kimchi gives it a nice acidic twang, and then obviously the delied meats is just delicious. And the combination of all of that in one bite is what makes it super special. I'm gonna try the broth. It's like smoky. The Minari watercress is doing God's work when it's giving flavor to the broth. I have to say, this is budae-jjigae that makes me feel really nourished and super full and not feel guilty about after eating.
I think you already know this by now, but I love wandering through markets, not just the stores themselves, but the people shopping, and especially small dogs. We got caught up exploring that by the time we stepped out, it was already nighttime. To walk off our big meals, we headed over to Gangnam.
Gangnam-gu, the most hectic part of town. This is nouveau rich. This is corporate. This is shopping. Gangnam is everything. It is at the pulse of the city.
Gangnam is always busy, whether it's commuters rushing back home, shoppers hopping between stores, or meeting friends after work. It is always bustling. And to satisfy a hungry crowd, there's a lot of street food trucks in this area. And what better street snack in the middle of Gangnam than a Korean-style hot dog?
When you're in Korea, something you gotta get is a Korean hot dog, and the way we do it, oh baby, it's different because it's battered, then chunks of big potato gets added on, and then it gets deep fried, and after 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it comes out of the fryer looking golden brown and perfect. But we're not done here. This is Korea. We like things to be salty and sweet, so it gets a generous dusting of sugar, and you get to choose what kind of sauce that you want. I went with classic ketchup and cheese mustard, and this is the end result. It's super cheesy, and the sugar adds a really nice sweetness to it. I know that it might look weird, but if you try it, you'll get it because the batter is also a little bit thicker. The potato adds that extra oomph of that, satisfaction when you bite into a heavy carbohydrate. And it is one of those things where when you try it here, you're gonna remember it forever, especially when it's late night and you want something indulgent. This is like Lady and the Tramp, except it's me and a corn dog.
Right next to Gangnam is Seobu. It's home to one of my favorite parks to visit at night, but we gotta make a quick pit stop at Hyorojjigae. The Moonlight Rainbow Fountain at Banpo Hangang Park is one of the most beautiful attractions in Seoul, although I think one of the water cannons were broken, but the true beauty of it cannot be captured on camera.
We are at Banpo Hangang Park, and a quintessential experience you need to try when you're in Seoul is watch the water show and have a fried chicken ready at hand so you can eat and also enjoy. So we picked up fried chicken from Hyodo Chicken, which is a fried chicken restaurant opened by 2 Michelin star chef Mingles. They do more avant-garde flavors, and I thought that it would be pretty interesting because they do like premium fried chicken. So this one is baby anchovies with Korean shishito pepper. And this one is a gochujang glaze with lotus root fried with green peppers thinly sliced on top. It's an incredible combo of both the ocean and land, the saltiness from the little anchovies and the spice coming through from the shishito pepper and the crispy fried chicken and the sweet glaze, like all of it comes together fantastic. That's really, really nice. And this is the more slightly classic gochujang glaze. Very crispy, sticky and sweet and salty, just like what you want. And it's really, really nice. Korean fried chicken, it'll always be good. But I think when you're here, might as well try premium fried chicken.
If you're lucky, you can drive along the lower level of the bridge and watch the fountain burst to life right beside you. It's one of the most magical urban drives you can take. It really shows how deeply connected we are to the Han River. And if you think we're done with it, just wait, because we're heading over to another event held by the water.
We are now at Hangang Bitsum Festival, and as the name denotes, it is right by the water, and you can see the light reflections bouncing across the water, and it is beautiful. Let's go check out some of the installations and see what's up. This gives me hella Coachella vibes. The light show itself is incredibly beautiful, but what makes it even more special is how everything coexists together. The nature, the urban life with the subway passing by, and the art and the people. All of this come together to make it incredibly special. I hope this video was useful to you guys. For anyone who is planning a trip to Korea, or this convinces you to come visit, it is a very, very special place in my heart because it's where Seoul is.
And that was everything to all 25 districts in Seoul. Thank you for watching till the end. Another thanks to Seoul Metropolitan Government for the support given to this video, and most importantly, a big thank you to Seoul. This is my love letter to you. I'll see you again in the next video. Love you, doobies. Bye.